Hey guys, what's up? Eddie Aho here with KissAnalog.com. Today, what I want to do is show you some thermal cameras. I've got a Class D amplifier project back here. I'm going to let this run a little bit, and we're going to take some images of it. And I want to compare this new FLIR ONE Pro. Now, FLIR, if you don't know who they are, they've been doing FLIR cameras or IR cameras for a long time. They're arguably the best in the market, the leader in the market, I should say. Now, they also make multimeters. I got this one back here. Some multimeters have the FLIR camera built in. They cost a little bit more money, and I just wanted to get a FLIR multimeter, high-end multimeter, really cool. I've done a review on that. I'll put the link down below. And I want to compare this new IR camera with this one, the HTI. Now, the HTI's got a second version out now too, which even has better resolution. This one has 4x the resolution of their previous camera. So it had a sale going on, so I kind of jumped on it. There was like an hour left of the sale, and I didn't have a lot of time to think. I thought, I'm going to grab that thing. Turns out the resolution, even though it's 4x better than the last one, still not quite as good as this one. So now I want kind of tell you something about the resolution. There's actually two cameras. There's one that takes a photograph, and there's one that takes the IR image, and it superimposes them on top of each other, because sometimes with just looking at IR, it's kind of hard to tell what you're looking at. Not enough definition, not enough components, whatever. So you got the camera image kind of superimposed on it so you can see what the heck it is. Okay. So some people have been kind of fooled by looking at the camera spec and looking at the resolution of that, going, wow, that's awesome resolution. Not realizing it's the camera, the normal camera, the normal, vision camera versus the IR camera. And so like in the case of this one has 1440 by 1080 resolution. So it's high def camera. But the thermal part, okay, that's 160 by 120. Has 19,200 pixels. So you'll see that a lot of times shown. 19,000 pixels, sounds like a lot. But then when you look at the spec and go 160 by 120, you go, oh, okay. And the 220/160 resolution on this one gives you 35,200 pixels. So almost double, well, pretty close to double what this one has. So the thermal image on this one should be a lot higher definition. The other thing, the minimum focusing distance on this one is about a foot. It's 0.3 meters. This one's 0.15 meters. So you can get about twice as close, which is nice. So you can zoom in. One thing you're going to notice when I'm starting to take these thermal images is it'll put something, the hottest thing at, red. We're going to do a rainbow color, and then it goes down to blue, I think is the coolest color. And so when you move the camera around, if you go to like something else on your board that's actually running cool, it'll readjust and it'll put a red on the hottest part of that cool portion of the board. So you get some resolution on those components. You can see the components aren't running as hot, And then when you go back and you include in the image the hot parts, then they're going to be the red parts. And you may not have the resolution of the cooler parts. So if you want to get down there, you got to move your camera around. So when you get a little closer, it's kind of helpful, Now, you can get closer with this one. I'm going to show you. You may not have the superimposed images exactly on top of each other, but if you just want to look at the thermal image of it, you kind of get closer. It just puts things out of alignment because the parallax error, the crossover thing, you just can't quite focus on things as close. Okay, so anyway, we're going to come over and look at this. So they also have this MSX technology, which almost adds kind of a cartoonic look to the picture. It kind of draws a line around like the, say around my body or something like that. And maybe your capacitors or transistors, it'll draw these, it'll kind of outline them. It's almost like somebody took a pencil and sketched it in there. But it does kind of help define the image so you can see, so the thermal image makes more sense, I should say. So it is kind of a cool technology. It just kind of looks funny in the beginning. This one you can slowly adjust from full photograph to full thermal and somewhere in between. So you can make it more photographic if you want to see, if you're trying to define where it is. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll just take my finger in the image and I'll kind of start pointing it, letting the hot theme lead my finger to it, and then I can move the camera and go, oh, it's that diode, something like that. So the new version of this is the H2A2. This is the H2A1 by HTI. It's kind of confusing a little bit. All right, so the big brother of this guy, it has like double the pixels, 76,800 I think is what it is, and it has 320 by 240 pixels, so versus the 220 by 160 of this one. So yeah, and I think it runs about 500. This one's about 379, and this one, the FLIR ONE Pro, is about 431. So it's about $50 more than this one, and the new version of this is, it's like $70 more of this. I think it's like 500 bucks, I believe. But anyway, I'll put all those links down below. Appreciate you using the links. That free way to help the channel. Doesn't cost you any extra. I'm going to bring you over. We're going to open up this guy, look inside, see what you get, and we're going to take some thermal images and we'll compare them. See what we think. All right, let's do it. Alright guys, so this is the box that it comes in. Alright. And so here, let's open it up. And by the way, this is a test setup we're going to take some temperatures on. So it's a Class D amplifier I'm testing. And here we are. Here's the FLIR box. Look how nice they package it. It's kind of like they took a kind of lesson out of Apple's book, right? You know how Apple and Sony before that used to do really nice jobs on packaging. So, okay, there's the camera. And here's our manual. We got a thank you card. It's nice touch. And some foam there. What else is in there? So this is talk about the iOS, that it works with the Apple badge. So, okay. And then our manual. And the manual is just a few pages. So, then in other languages. But there is that code here, so you can go get a real manual. Alright, so yeah, nice foamy part here to keep this thing safe. And there's the camera. And it has a nice construction. This part feels metal, rubber on the top and bottom. But yeah, very nice construction. This little wheel here, it moves, it telescopes this thing up and down. Okay, so I've got it protruded all the way out so that I can easily fit it with my Apple case. So here's my Apple phone. Got a case and easily fits in there. Okay. So the two lenses, I think this is the thermal imaging. This is the one for the pictures, the photographs. So there you go. And then we have an on button and a charge port here. Now, with this telescoped all the way out, you can see there's a space in there, a gap, so it easily fits through my little rubber case here, and even a thicker case it would fit, it looks like. So yeah. Alright, so I have the FLIR app running and it's waiting for me to connect it. So I just want to connect it to show you how that app works. Looks like the battery needs to be charged. And there we go. There's our thermal camera. And there we go. We got it on rainbow colors. So pretty nice thermal camera, right? There we go. See, my bracelet is nice and cold. And now the photograph part, you can it's kind of hard to tell exactly, but might be able to kind of see how the photographic image isn't lined up with the thermal image. And as I pull away about that far, it kind of lines up. So it's, well, still, there we go. So yeah, about a foot away. So that's about the minimum focal distance right there. So that's what my mat and everything looks like. And my generator over there. There's a generator. So pretty nice. Now, let's see. Hit this guy. You got this little slider here. That is aligning. If you can see the image here and the thermal image there, that kind of lines them up. So right there is about the max, and it's not quite a foot away, but it's pretty close. So yeah, that's how you line up your image with your, get your thermal image and your camera image lined up. Okay, so I like how easy that is. It's just right there, hit it, and there you go. This one here talks about the color. Okay, you can go to different colors. We're on rainbow, like I said. There's a color wheel, I guess. There's lava. Everything just looks really hot. Iron, hottest. So just the hottest things are showing up. And a gray. So it's white is a hot. And there's contrast. So it has a lot of nice settings. And coldest. And then Arctic. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Rainbow is the one I've chosen because I've got it chosen on both of them. I kind of use that one to get all the colors. So I kind of feel like that one gives, you know, the kind of indication. You can see the bar right here. Blue is cold. Red is the hottest. Right now 5 degrees and down to 19 degrees what it sees here. And you can see this one right here, that indicator is stuck in the middle, right? I can move it around, and this one I can move. So that's really nice, because if you're looking at an image, you can go, okay, I want to see what temperature that is, what temperature that is. So it's a really nice feature of this of the FLIR camera. Now, this one right here is if I have other images saved, I can go there, so I don't have it connected to my library yet. The bar right there shows FLIR ONE 24% charge. It says I'm not logged in because I can have cloud storage if I like to. So, and there's a car inspect, FLIR home inspect. So there's different ones. The Thermo Studio, I haven't looked at these yet. So, but if you're doing those kind of things, now what is this? Upload your FLIR ONE files. So yeah, just a nice application. Alright, so let's check out some of these other features. We got the color one down. This auto mode, manual mode. See the bar graph up here? It stretches all the way down the screen. I kind of like that. Wonder why that's called manual mode. But and then you can go to the eyeball one, and it turns it off. Okay, so we'll leave it in automatic. And measurements, you got the cold, so that'll go find the coldest spot. This hot one, that'll go find the hottest spot. And then our 3 markers, and I can go 0, 1, 2, or 3. So super cool. I think this is a super cool feature. And then our modes. So we're in the spectral where we do everything, camera and thermal. And then we can go just thermal or just camera. Then we're back to this one. Alright guys, so I enabled my photos so we can look at photos. We're started the first one. This looks like an example of a doorway. You can see the cold around the doorway, especially around here. It looks like it's letting cold through the door, so maybe not insulated very well around the door frame. And there's your air conditioner showing your motor heating up inside, so pretty cool. and some wiring. So it looks like we might have a hot wire maybe. And I don't know what that is. Looks like a panel. And I don't know what this is either. It looks like heater coils. I don't know if that's buried in the pavement or what. And looks like some kind of plumbing or gas fixture. And another plumbing or gas. This looks like maybe gas inside a furnace maybe. Not sure. Oh, here we go. I just noticed this. IR and photo. So there we go. That's what that was. Okay, let's see what this one is. Yeah, it looks like some kind of piping, gas fixture maybe. Okay, that is a hallway. So that's your thermal floor. That's pretty cool. Yep, that's a panel. And we got some breakers that might be warm. Okay, there we go. There's a cooling vent. And I think this is a furnace. Not sure what all this stuff is, but there's some wiring out there. We know what that is. And there's your doorway. Alright guys, so one other thing I want to show you is you can go to this edit mode, and then you can come in here and you can change the color if you want to change to a different color. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can do this measurement thing, and right now this guy is pointing at the hot spot. You can hit that one and it'll point at the cold spot. Then you can hit this one to get your other little indicators and move them around, I guess, and see what the temperature is in different locations. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, once I click on this, then I can change the scale for the hot or the cold. So that's kind of interesting. And then your modes, and this one here, I think it's supposed to add some highlights, some contrast. And that's just your thermal, and then your camera. But I think in this one, it's that special mode where you're supposed to be able to like see some highlights, and I kind of see some things moving around. But yeah, I'm not sure about the post-processing on that one. But anyway, yeah, so you can do things after you've taken the picture, and I'm not going to save any of that stuff. But yeah, you can edit it, go to this one, you can share it, upload to FLIR Ignite. So pretty nice. I think it's a very nice app. Alright, so let's continue looking in the box. We haven't even made it all the way through the box. Now this is a nice case that they give you. That's pretty cool. Little pocket, little cutout so it fits nicely in there. It's one of those kind of soft, firm cases, you know what I mean? So, and then our charging cable. And I guess transferred to the computer as well. It's USB-C to USB. Okay, and then my HTI, you have to hold the button down for a few seconds to turn it on, and it takes, about 10 or 15 seconds, I think, to power up. And it looks like I need to recharge the battery in this one as well. And there's my fingers, my hand, it's rainbow settings too. Here, let's get the bracelet in there. Now this one here, when you want to line up your picture, your photograph with your picture, you hit the menu, and then image registration is that first one, so you just select that from this one. Then you use these arrows here to go back and forth or up and down and move your photo image to try to align with your thermal image. Okay, I did review this in an earlier video, so I'll put the link down below. But just quickly, it has images, color palette, emissivity. That's like when you have a reflective surface, like these aluminum surfaces. So you have a shiny settings, and then you have kind of a matte or kind of a dull setting. And so you can set up this guy right up here to adjust for what kind of surfaces you have. And then you can see the scale right here, the thermal scale along here. And up here I have my temperature. So the way this one works is I have this guy right in the middle, so I can align that up. I can't move around like I can on the FLIR, which is really awesome. And I don't have multiple ones either, but I can turn on the hot one and the cold one, so they're kind of jumping all over the screen. And then I have this one that I can point, and it'll tell me the temperature here as well as up here. And the other two are automatically trying to find the cold and hot spot, and they kind of give the temperatures down here, max, min, and the time. So here you might be able to see those little arrows jumping around to the hot spot, the cold spot, and so on. So that's how that one works. Alright guys, just a brief discussion of what we're doing here. My Class D amplifier right down here, we're going to look at that with the thermal camera, okay? And then I got the power supply powering it, switching power supply. And I've got this meter here, the Klein, reading the DC voltage going into the card through the cable here. Just give me an idea of where it is. The best reading would be over here, but I'm just taking the output of the power supply. And then also the input is the AC voltage, so I'm looking at that because I'm using a variac over here to bring up the voltage. Okay, so I just bring it up to 120, just so I know what the input voltage is. And then over here is the junk tech that I just reviewed, and I'll be using this generator to put a signal into both of these guys here. Okay, so these RCA jacks are tied in parallel right here. Signals coming in, and then I have 4 ohm load on each one of these. So I'll turn this on, let it warm up a little bit, and then we'll look at it with the thermal camera. Alright guys, there's the board down there, and here's the camera. Now what I want to show you is when I go into this the mode setting, this one here is the multispectral dynamics. You see, it's like somebody almost did a pencil drawing on top of it. So if I hit this one, see, it turns that off. That'll look more like my other camera over there, but this one here puts, you know, kind of some contrast, so it makes it a little bit easier to see the photograph. So that's what that is. So when I have that mode turn on, then I can hit this button, and that's when I get that slider. That's when I get this slider right here. And I can move this over to try to line up with the photograph. So right there. Okay, if I pull away, that's about as close as I can get right there. So I'm about, yeah, just approximately 1 foot away, maybe slightly less. You kind of see how it's contrasted, made that picture a little bit easier to do with that multispectral display thing. So that's what that's all about. So one thing about this is, you notice when I'm moving around, I'm always hitting buttons because, you know, your phone has so many buttons. But here, let's go back to this, and I'll go back to what the other camera I have. That's the other camera, what it would look like. It wouldn't have that multispectral. So you have the photograph image there tied in with the thermal. And you notice this guy jumping around trying to find the hot spot. And then there's this other one's flying all over trying to find the cold spot somewhere on my mat. And then if I look over those resistors, you can see how hot they're getting. Okay, so pretty cool, and all the temperatures are labeled right across here. So back on the Class D amp, the hottest temperature is about 85 degrees. And so yeah, that's pretty neat. I like that. But this multispectral thing, I think it, you know, it almost looks a little cartoonic, but it does make it a little bit easier to see, right? It's like a pencil drawing on top of your photograph, right? So maybe that does make it a little bit easier to see. Okay, so then when I bring this camera into the picture, that's what you're going to see with that one. And we don't have those lines showing things, but I can get a little bit closer with this one. Now, here, if I try to look at that heat sink there. Okay, now if I go this way, I go to photograph, I go to full thermal. If I go to photograph, I can go a little bit photograph, a little bit thermal, and when I'm doing that, that's when I can kind of see how the alignment is maybe not aligned. So I can go to that registration thing, and I can say, yeah, I need to move that up, move that over. Okay, that's looking like the capacitors are getting lined up, I think. Whoops, going the wrong way. So I definitely like the slider on the FLIR camera. That makes it a lot easier than hitting these buttons. I guess I can just hold them down and it'll pull it. But yeah, so there's that image. Then I can go get a little bit more thermal, a little bit more. Whoops. And I guess that was all thermal right there. So there's that. And like I say, the temperatures are, I got the hot one jumping around finding that. It's about 65 maybe. And that heat sink, to get a really good temperature on it, I would need to probably put some electrician's tape on it so it's not shiny, because the mistivity on it, it'll throw the temperature readings off a little bit. So just to show you, like, you know, how close I can get, and then as I pull away, okay, and then bring back this image. There we go. So the photographic image with that kind of brightness technology, yeah, so they call it that MSX technology. That does help, right? See, I have to get real close with this one, and then it's not going to be aligned with the photograph to try to get the same kind of image inside the screen as this one. This one, I can get a little bit closer and keep the photograph lined about half as, you know, and get about 6 inches versus about a foot on this one. So, but even if the photograph's not lined up, you can still get a nice look at it, right? All right, guys, so the thing with this camera is when you do that setting for photograph and thermal, kind of mix them together, you can kind of get a similar photograph as the FLIR by not going to, like, say, full thermal like that. Like taking it one notch back where you can see a little bit more of the camera image. See what I mean? So just add that, and right about there it looks a lot more. See, that was full thermal right there. But when I'm one notch away, I get a little bit more of the photographic image, making it look a lot more like the FLIR. It doesn't have those like penciled in lines, but you can see the camera image a lot better. Hey guys, so what do you think? Hey, by the way, I want to put these down so I can get my thumbs up in the air. 2 big thumbs up to my patrons. Really appreciate you guys. And also you guys that have hit that thank you button down below. That's an easy way to say thanks or support the channel with a one-time thing where you buy me a cup of coffee or something. So I think that was pretty cool that YouTube added that thank you button down there. But the free way to help is just hit the like button. If you found any value in the video, I appreciate that. And I'd like to hear your comments, which camera you like. Now, I want to point out, this one does do movies. I didn't show the video, but this one will do video with audio. So that could be very useful, especially, if you're actually using it for other things like home inspection, things like that, where you're walking around talking and saying, hey, this is what we're looking at, and kind of explaining what you're doing. So, yeah, that could be very handy. This one just does photos. So, but it's $50 less, has almost double the thermal resolution as this one. So this one might be better for circuit boards, for just taking images of your components. And the new version of this one with a higher resolution, that could even be better. That's around $500, I believe. So anyway, there you go. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, I really like the app on this one, how you can move the little cursors right where you want them to read the temperatures. That's really neat. The cursors in this one, the red one kind of gets lost in the red, the green one gets lost in the green. So it's kind of funny that the cursors are the same color as the temperature they're trying to read. They kind of get camouflaged. Now when you save your pictures and you look at them, it's a lot more obvious what the temperatures are and where the cursors are and all that kind of stuff, because you're looking a lot bigger image but on your computer. But yeah, anyway, what do you guys think? Standalone unit, high resolution, photographs only, really cool app, you know, a little more flexible on where you can read the temperatures and all that kind of stuff, and the post editing that you can do in the app, that's really cool too. So the app on this one definitely wins. But what do you think? Or this one takes your phone to plug into, so it's a little bit different when you're kind of spinning it around sometimes trying to look at something with your phone hanging off one end. My fingers are always getting in the way and stuff. It takes practice, I guess. Keep your fingers out of the way. You stop hitting the buttons on the side. You know, you're holding thing like this, I'm hitting buttons. Yeah, anyway, there you go. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think. I find thermal cameras doing development really useful, really handy, and especially the first time you power up, just to get that confidence build up that everything's running cool, that you're not going to see something go kapowie on you. So yeah, I like that. All right, hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.